What's up, broods and broodettes? It's the Pico Dudes. Thrilled to be back. My name's Sam Rathert. With me, the man. Oh,
What you got for us today?
I don't know. I was gonna have to make something up on the spot. I think he just saved me.
Oh, the man with the shirt that says relief pitcher.
Relief pitcher with a picture of beer. Most valuable player. I love it. Yeah. I think I was gonna rhyme "go" with Hidalgo, and that's just cheating. So we'll just say it's Jeremy Hidalgo, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome.
I just took a bow in case you can't see it.
Yeah, can't wait to add video.
Yeah.
The thrilling things you're missing.
Let's get on track with our podcast.
You want to talk about some beer?
Let's talk about some beer.
Hey, let's talk about some beer. So, I think I've brewed the last 3 or 4 beers. So I think this time it's my turn?
It is your turn again.
Again. But you're bringing something soon, right?
I do. We've got Tally the Timid and Stingray IPA coming up from Coronado.
Ooh, that's a
Brew
popular
House.
one.
Yeah.
And we did another Coronado one, didn't we? Mermaid's Red?
Yep, we did.
Pretty darn
We're probably
good
going to
one.
have to give that one another shot.
I think it edged out that ORB Red, if I remember right.
It did. Edging comments aside, it did beat it out, but I think you had some kind of little bit of a contaminant or something, some challenge.
Absolutely. Sorry, that was my coat.
Yeah, right.
Moving on. So we have a beer that, we've tried it. It's actually, I think, another success story.
Yeah. What kind of beer did you brew us?
So this is, it's a Rocky Raccoon honey lager.
Lagers, you say?
Lagers, I say. And I know nothing about lagers or raccoons. So for me, this was a lot of excitement.
Yeah. You want me to get into it?
Oh, yeah. Do you know anything about lagers?
I do a little bit.
Oh.
Lager is a type of beer conditioned at low temperatures.
Oh, that was my first mistake.
It may be pale, golden, or amber, or dark in color. And the pale lager is the most widely consumed and commercially available style of beer. Well-known brands, of course, like Pilsner Urquell. I don't know why that's a
Urquell, yeah.
Yeah. Miller, Stella Artois, Beck's, Brahma.
Did you say Miller?
Miller. Coors is not on here. It is not a lager.
Surprise, surprise. But a lot of the banquet beers fall into that lager category.
Yeah, they taste as Okay. It's the main thing is the longer fermentation period at the lower temperatures. And it's, German in origin, and I don't know. What else do you want to know about it?
Well, everything German in origin's got to be good, right? So here's one of the things that I'd heard about lager. So a lager yeast, and you'll see if you get your PicoPaks, you get different styles of yeast. Sometimes they'll say lager yeast. I believe the lager yeast is bottom fermenting, not top fermenting. So as you start getting that, cake and stuff on the top, as that fermentation period starts, often you see it on the top of your bucket if you're doing it in a bucket.
Kreuzen, if you will.
Kreuzen! My kids love Kreuzens. Or is that craisins?
Those are craisins.
Oh, okay. Not the same thing.
Yeah. Don't put any yogurt on, don't pull any of the kreuzen out of your beer and dip it in yogurt and try and feed it to your kids.
Don't do that. But the lagers are a bottom fermenting yeast. Often they ferment for much longer periods of time.
Don't tell them that. They'll take offense. You bottom fermenting yeast.
You bottom fermenters. So on this one, I understanding it was a lager and knowing nothing about what that really means, because I'm, boy, if I'm anything, it's after being not a goes guy, I'm not really a lager guy. So I gave it a shot, and I did this one. I fermented it while I was on vacation, because that gave me a good 3+ weeks. So I've got about 24, 25 days of fermentation on this sucker. Now, I wish I could say it was at 50 to 55 degrees the whole time. Instead, it was in my garage, and we had the warmest May in history in Seattle. So typically May in my garage, 50, 55 degrees pretty consistently the whole way through. I'm sure it was up in the mid 60s for quite a bit of this. So
at least, yeah.
That may have affected the beer a bit. Now, not in a bad way, but I think it may have changed some of the characters that you typically would have gotten out of this honey lager, if you will.
Yeah, I think there's only one characteristic that I can taste in this that may have been affected or be a result of the different temperatures during your fermentation, and that's We'll get to that.
We will. But first, let's talk about this. So this is one I spotted off the store. And I thought, you know what, this is great timing because we've got the 12th annual Washington Brewers Festival coming up. And this is a horrible game to play, by the way.
Yes.
This is a game where see if you make the other guy laugh while he's talking. So we got the Washington Brewers Festival coming up next weekend, 12th annual Washington Brewers Festival. And in honor of that, this Rocky Raccoon honey lager is actually brought to us by the American Home Brewers Association. And so they actually teamed up with the one and only Charlie Papazian.
Yeah, the founder.
The founder, if you will, the man who really helped us create our entire hobby here. And they got together with him to release one of his, reading off the PicoBrew website, iconic recipes, which is that Rocky Raccoon honey lager. And they put it in PicoPak form, and they say that it features honey notes in the aroma and flavor and is encompassed by a clean, crisp finish.
I would say mostly true.
Mostly true. I'm with you. Mostly true. We'll get into that in a minute. But, you know, for those who don't know who Charlie Papazian is, you know, you also can read his Wikipedia. But, you know, he's a nuclear engineer, brewer, and author. So, hey, what's surely a brilliant man. I think his book, or he's got several books, but The Complete Joy of Home Brewing has been reprinted over 20 times. It's been out for, 25 years just about. Very popular book. But this guy, he's not just an author and a brewer. He actually did some important things for us. So it wasn't always legal to brew your own beer. Did you know that?
I did actually, but
because in our lifetimes, for the most part, it has been legal.
yeah.
But way back in 1978, good old President Jimmy Carter, he signed a law that reopened that beer market to small craft brewers.
People say he was the worst president in history.
Oh man,
he gave us home brewing.
He's got competition, but yes, he gave us home brewing, and so when he did that, it also permitted home brewing. And so the next year, 1979, Papazian founded the Association of Brewers, of which he remained president for, a long time, until about 2005. And then it merged with the Brewers Association of America. There's a lot of Brewers Associations going on here. And eventually, he also, and that he remained president of forever. Just about. Yeah. I mean, he was, I think, 79 to 2016. He was the president of the Brewers Association. Yeah. So as long as many listeners have been alive.
Or one of the Pico dudes.
One of the Pico dudes. And he also founded the American Homebrewers Association, or the AHA, of which brought us this delicious recipe. They also helped create the National Certification Board for Judging of Beers.
Yeah, the BJCP that we refer to
all the time with the wrong letters. At least I do.
BJPC.
Lots of PCP. And so here's a guy we owe a lot to. So, hey, what a time with our own Brewers Festival coming up to say, hey, let's take one of his recipes. Let me try and recreate it and see what happens.
All right. Well, cheers.
Cheers. What do you get on the nose to start?
All right. It's a bit sweet. There's a slight yeast aroma to it. Mm-hmm. I pick up, I guess, that sweet. I don't know if I necessarily associate it with honey, but
Me either.
There's just a little sweet note there. When I taste the beer, it's
more like frosting for me.
Yeah, it tastes like if you were to take a Coors and mix it with
Coors or Coors Light.
Well, like a Coors Light and mix it with like a Newcastle, right?
Newcastle Brown?
Newcastle Brown Ale, because it's got a little bit more bitter characteristic up front than the brown ale would have. But for like a Coors or a Coors Light, it's got a little bit more body on the back end than you would expect from one of those beers.
A heck of a lot more. I mean, I'll tell you right off the bat, there's a time for Bud Light. Mm-hmm. And normally it's not that time. I would usually drink this over a Bud Light.
Oh, I agree.
That would be a pretty easy decision for me.
Yeah, so it's a little bit bready. There's that little bit of a yeasty flavor. The body is light. The viscosity is a little bit thin. The afterfeel slightly slippery. I think that's the product of that
Wow, you
those
were
wild
upping your game.
temperature swings that you had.
Not just wild. I think that warmer temperatures adding to that bready, yeasty smell, flavor.
Probably stressed it out a little bit.
I really would have loved to have controlled temperature better. No idea that Seattle was going to get a heat wave in May.
Yeah.
And, it's going to be down to, low 60s or 50s here in mid-June. But nope, it's May. We're going to get 80-degree temperatures plus.
But I think you've gone a long way to kind of remedy the problem that you've been having with some of those temperature swings, right? So,
and I think that at least slows down the swing, so we're not getting those off flavors in the beer. I'm not getting really any off flavors.
Yeah.
It does not taste like what I expected, but it also doesn't taste bad in any way.
No, it's not. It's a good beer. I mean, I'm actually thinking I'd probably want to.
Who's a good beer? You are.
I want to order this one and see what I can do
yeah.
to get the lager just right. And
I'm gonna be doing this one next winter. I'm gonna try a few lagers next winter, but I can't control temperature in my house enough to get in that desired 50-55 range.
Yeah.
To really cellar a lager correctly.
Yeah. Well, maybe getting a little bit of a brew chamber setup would help, or fermentation chamber.
No, that sounded really cool.
Brew chamber.
I'm going in the brew chamber.
The chamber of brews.
The dreaded chamber of brews. No, don't throw me in the chamber of brews. Dilly dilly. That gets you thrown in the chamber of no brews.
Yeah. Or brews BRUISE.
Dilly dilly in there. So again, I'm getting a lot of the same things. I think you are. You did a good job describing it. It did affect us a little, I think, having teriyaki directly before. So we're trying to get through that.
Yeah, the teriyaki flavor is completely out of my mouth. The beer flavor is all up in there.
Yeah.
And it's good.
Good.
I like it.
It doesn't have any sour on the aftertaste, which I was worried about.
Yep.
It doesn't have a whole lot of finish to it, but
no, I get just a little bit of a cereal. Just as you once you've made you've swallowed
regular Cheerios,
and then you kind of breathe out just slightly, you get that little bit of a Cheerio.
Hey, I had Cheerios 15 minutes ago and I just burped.
Yep, there you go.
I'm with you on that,
but in a pleasant way.
In a pleasant way. But it's not Honey Nut Cheerios, which is what I really wanted.
That would be so awesome if it was.
So again, you're right. This needs another shot. It's not a bad beer, but I don't think it ended up as intended, and I wasn't around to help it.
Yeah. I wonder if you could maybe take honey and use it for the bottle conditioning. I think it's a little bit more difficult for the yeast to get through.
Oh, to get to those sugars, depending on how long you want to lay it down. Honestly, when I was reading about this beer, because this recipe's been out for years and years and years, it's a very famous recipe from one of the most famous homebrewers of all time, and honey is something that gets added to the beer. Often during the process of making the brew.
Yeah.
And so that's not something that we don't get instructions in our PicoPaks. I mean, why would we do that, right? So good luck figuring out that you need to add vanilla and bourbon to get a vanilla bourbon porter.
We did get a card in that one.
We did. At least we did get something saying, hey, you got to add something.
But if you get dry hops, you got to do a little detective work, Indiana Jones.
Yeah. But I don't remember seeing anything to add honey, so this isn't, authentic to the way it's traditionally made. Yeah. And it might be something that now that we have made it, yes, more control in the next process, and I think either in the bottling or even shortly at the end of the fermentation stage, almost like a dry hop, seeing if I can add honey and see what that does to it.
Yeah. I think if you do it in the secondary fermentation or in at the end of the fermentation, you'll kick the fermentation back into gear.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it'll.
And so I'll probably get some.
Yeah.
You'll get your CO2 and all your stuff from that, right? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's too much honey.
Now you got my brain spinning. I think there's a lot of like Belgian wits and some of those things that you can add honey to, and instead of the candied sugar and stuff that they typically add. So we might have to try some of those coming up here. Anyways, what do you rate it? You want me to go first?
Yeah, it's my beer. Your job to go first.
I'm gonna give this a 3 3/4.
Really?
It doesn't quite hit a 4.
You're a kind man.
I was gonna go with like a 3.5, but it as beer sometimes does, it's growing on me. I kind of wish you could.
I wish I had another one.
Yeah, I kind of wish you could pour me a little bit more.
I'm in a 3 to 3.5 range, and I'm probably going to say 3.5 for this reason. I'll probably brew this again. And the way I've set up my range, that 2.5 to 3.5 is I'm drinking it. 3.5 and up is reserved for I'd brew it again. 4.5 and up is I already ordered another pack and it's on its way, and now I will always have some on hand, like my NB30. I am somehow becoming addicted to. For someone who does not like IPAs, we'll talk more about that in that next episode.
That was super good.
But this, I'm with you. I'm going to, like I said, bump it up to that 3.5 because I do want to brew it again. I do want to try it again. I will drink an entire bottle every time I open it, I'm sure. So it's
I would.
It's a beer I'm not going to let go to waste.
Yeah, you put it in big. I would probably drink a growler of this at a time.
And you might be able to. It's ABV of 5.8, so
Okay.
it's still got a little bit of a kick, but not so much you can't get through it. IBUs are only 23, so it is pretty easy drinking. And SRM, of course, 6 for those that care. I should have let you guess, but we already drank all of it, so there's nothing to look at.
Yeah.
You were going to say 6, weren't you?
I was going to say 6.
I knew you were. You nailed it again. Wow.
Wow, this is getting easier.
Guess how much money I have in my pocket? And it might be
0.
Gosh, you're good at this game. So, that's it. That is the Big Brew Rocky Raccoon Honey Lager, and I would definitely suggest making your own. Make sure you have a way to control the fermentation. This is not one you probably put on a fast ferment.
The lagering, if you will.
Oh, lagering. That's what, as I said, cellaring or something stupid. That's when you lay down your wine or beer to keep for a while. No, lagering.
Yeah, just to kind of mellow up.
That's where the name came from, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it came from chopping trees down, or
No.
wrong lager.
No, it actually, if you want me to give you
why don't you?
a little bit of a bonus tidbit here.
Bonus tidbit for those who have lasted this long.
And of course, now I can't find the thing.
Oh, you thought you knew a bonus tidbit, and now you're trying to find one?
I do know a bonus tidbit.
By the way, Charlie Papazian, I just want to make clear, is not the most interesting man in the world. He just kind of looks like him.
He does. Like, you could be like, I don't always drink beer, but when I do, it's my own recipe that's world famous.
He is Armenian. He's American Armenian, but he is Armenian, and he's got that look of that white beard and that kind face, and that. God, I think that's the most interesting man in the world.
So it origins from the German word Lagerbier, referred to all types of bottom fermented, cool conditioned, and normal strengths beer.
Bottom conditioned. What did I say? Bottom fermented?
No, I said bottom fermented.
Oh,
cool conditioned.
Okay. My ears don't work. If only I had headphones so I could hear you better.
Yeah. I think it's time to go.
You do?
I do.
Should we let everybody go? Because you want to open another beer and get to the next episode.
Yeah.
We're out of beer.
We're going to do a bonus episode.
Bonus! Stick around for bonus episode.
Pico Dudes out. You've reached the end of another episode of the Pico Dudes podcast. Connect with us at picodudes.com, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And if you enjoyed our show, we'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and give us a review wherever you listen to your podcasts, but mostly iTunes. Also, if you want a code that will help give you some discounts off of the PicoBrew equipment, Z150D equals $150 off of the Z series. Pro, PRO 125D gives you $125 off of the Pico Pro, and C75D gets you $75 off of your purchase of a Pico C. We hope you enjoy listening. Look forward to hearing from you. Pico Dudes out.